Hey YouTube, this video is a follow-up to the two videos I made on the Taken King maybe a month ago, 2 months ago at this point. Those videos kind of blew up, and I noticed that a lot of the comments within the last couple of weeks were basically just fuck Bungie, fuck Bungie. Well, I mean, quite literally, it was just the words fuck Bungie Vision, fuck Activision, fuck you Bungie. That was basically the level of what the comments had devolved into at that point. I feel like it was really missing the mark on what I was making the videos about, and the point of the videos was basically, if you see a company doing something you don't like, you don't have to give them money, you don't have to support them, you don't have to pay them any more than you already have. And I really do believe that, but what Bungie did with the Taken King makes it a little more difficult. And I'm going to explain that in 1 second, but I am going to give the Taken King credit because it did revitalize Destiny in pretty much every aspect. It makes the game how it should have been from day one. So, you know, you do pay $40, but you do get the game that you should have got a year ago, and can pay $60 for it now, but if you kept up for it, it'd be like $140. So that's why a lot of people are still iffy on buying the Taken King, because they already paid up to $100 thus far, and they feel like they should have probably gotten the game they expected day one, instead of a year later and have to pay $40 for it. The Taken King revitalized absolutely everything though. It made it more balanced, it made it less of a grind fest, it added story to the game, so there's actually now a story in Destiny that you could follow along. It's coherent, they have time to tell you why they have time to tell you about the story this time. Peter Dinklage is no longer the apathetic ghost, they've changed the voice actors, and they've added quests and stories, and you actually talk to the vendors in the tower now, and they actually are personalities. They're not just menu screens that say like a catchphrase or two every once in a while, and I think that is great. But there is some parts of the Taken King that I find to be shady, and the parts of the Taken King that I find to be shady is what happens if you decide not to buy the Taken King. And I discovered this because I wanted to play Destiny today, and I hadn't really looked into what happened with the Taken King because I decided not to follow it anymore because I didn't pay for it and I don't own it, so I didn't really care what really became of it after that point. But I decided to play Destiny today, and I found out quite a lot, and the Taken King basically is trying to strong arm you into buying it because it locks out a lot of content that used to be in the game that you already paid for, and now you can't play it. The first thing that I did notice about the Taken King is that all the vendor items are now up to level 40, which means you need to be level 40 to use these items. You can buy them, I'm pretty sure, but you have to be level 40 to use them, which makes it impossible to use them if you don't have the Taken King. So you really can't get any new legendary weapons, so there's no point in gaining rep for vendors anymore because you don't get anything from it because you can't buy anything from them. The next thing I noticed is that the daily, weekly, and the nightfall strikes are all locked out. And not just locked out in the sense that they involve a mission that you don't own. That is one instance. There are missions that you can't play now because the Taken King included new strikes, and those are definitely going to be in the rotation for a little while, and I don't mind that. That happened last time around too. But what I do mind is them raising the level cap for the nightfall strikes, the weekly strikes, the daily missions, and I believe it's the multiplayer challenges as well. That's all level 40 now. So you can't do it unless you own the Taken King. It might not sound that bad, but when you think about that's like half the end game for Destiny, you can't really do anything anymore. So from here on out, there's no reason to re-log into Destiny if you don't own the Taken King, because you can never play the Nightfall Strike again, you can never get strange coins, you can never get anything else really from those missions. You can't get the EXP modifier. It's all pretty much pointless because you can't do it anymore. So there's really nothing to do in Destiny besides the 2 raids that exist now. So if you don't own the Taken King, you're basically stuck with only being able to do 2 raids once a week, and that's pretty much it. After that, I decided, you know, if I can't do the weekly strike or the nightfall strike, I'll just play some PvP, and which I thought was crazy is there's like 6 game modes in PvP, and every single one of them is locked out, and all you can do is choose to play a random game type. You can't choose what game type anymore. It's random type of 6v6, a random type of 3v3, and I believe a random type of solo, like a lone wolf, where it's like 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. You can't choose anymore. It's a random playlist, and if you don't get the game you want, you basically have to leave, which fucks over the other people in the game and on your team because you are leaving the game and they can no longer play because you didn't want to actually be put in that game, but they don't know that. You're really making it tough for people to not screw each other over if they don't want to play random anything. I mean, you can't choose what game type to play in multiplayer anymore. That's the only other thing to do besides the end game, and the end game is pretty much gone. So yeah, after that, The other thing I noticed is that if you don't want to play PvP, you can try your hand at the Vanguard Strikes, which are now at the maximum level of 20. There is a level 40 option, but that's only available for the Taken King, and you wouldn't be able to play it anyway because you can't reach level 40 if you don't buy the Taken King. So you can play level 20 strikes, which don't give you gear and is basically like playing on easy mode because you'll be around level 30, level 34. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. There's no point to play the Vanguard Strikes at that point because they're so far below you, you're basically fighting enemies that are hitting you with like pea shooters and marshmallow guns. There's nothing left to do in Destiny. It's getting ridiculous. I literally went through every category and there's literally shit left to do. Oh, and if you want to do a story mission, you can't change the level on that anymore. It's impossible. It's set at the lowest possible level. I mean, if the maximum level of a story mode quest is like 23, you're kinda gonna breeze through the entire story in Destiny thus far, so there's really no point in playing the story missions now because they're also very far below you. And if you have a gun you want to update, you can't really do that unless you want to go to a planet and farm for materials like you had to in the start of Destiny. And I mean start of Destiny as in how it was when it came out, where you have to go to the planet and just do loops and hope Spirit Bloom pops up, because you have to trade legendary marks now to get planetary materials, and I'm pretty sure you can't get them unless you do Taken King missions or Nightfall strikes or weekly strikes. And on top of that, most other bounties like Eris, all of them are gone. She has basically no more bounties, and they wiped pretty much all you can do with her to get her rep up to get special stuff. So you can't really do Eris bounties anymore because they don't exist, and you can't really do the story anymore because it's such a low level beneath you that you don't get anything worthwhile for actually playing it, besides hearing Eris complain a little bit about how her eyes are gone. So, yeah. And I'm sure there's stuff that I did miss, but that's really just like a brief overview of all the stuff that I've noticed that's taken out of Destiny if you don't own the Taken King. And that's why I was stating before that it's difficult for me to say, don't buy something if you don't support the company that does it because you don't support their actions. But when you don't buy it, they take away content you already had and make it so that the game you own is now a shell of a game. Because everyone, let's be honest, Destiny wasn't the greatest game when it came out. And with the Taken King, it did become a great game. I'm not denying that. But if you don't own the Taken King, Bungie quite literally took content out of Destiny, and that sounds absurd because it is, because Destiny is a game known for having lack of content. Basically, Bungie is slowly taking content out of Destiny if you don't buy their expansions. And that's why I'm considering it to be a game that's subscription-based, but you just don't realize it because unless you don't pay for the subscription, which is buying the Taken King, you don't notice the loss of content. And a lot of people are very excited about the Taken King because they got it and it's good, but if you don't get it, you get screwed over really, really badly. And that's not really cool to take content away from people, and especially content they already paid you for. I mean, there's other games out there. I mean, Bungie really didn't say Destiny's an MMO, and it really isn't because there's such a lack of content in it that I really can't consider it an MMO. But if you think about MMOs, Elder Scrolls got a big update, and if you didn't buy the update, you didn't lose content. You still got to play all the stuff you had before, you just don't get to touch the new content. Now, you are losing a lot of the content you had before, and it takes away from a game that didn't have much to give in the first place. I just gotta say, I really don't support Bungie taking content out. I support them for making good content like the Taken King. I didn't buy it, and because I didn't buy it, I got to see the shady stuff they were doing in the background. So I'm not sure if I will buy the Taken King ever, because they kind of screwed me over in the $100 I already spent. Actually $150 because I bought the Ghost Edition. So I'm not really sure I want to support a team that keeps constantly screwing me over by taking content away or not giving me content in the first place. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to click like and subscribe if you like this video. Don't forget to comment down below with your opinion, because I really would love to hear it, to be honest with you. Besides, you know, something more substantial than fuck Bungie. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.